everyone, this is Ritesh from Asia HRM. Today we are so glad that we have one of our leaders, Mr. Ritesh Agarwal, to accept our short interview. Mr. Ritesh is a seasoned human resources leader. He has held several HR leadership positions in sales, manufacturing, as well as the FMCG sectors across Asia Pacific. His current position is Sales Capability Head for Asia EU, PepsiCo. He has authored the book Sales HR Strategies for HR and Business Leaders. And Asia HRM was so honored to have launched his book. He is also a keen supporter of Asia HRM. So, Mr. Ritesh, thanks for accepting our interview. Since you are a successful HR leader and also a successful HR VP, can you share with us your bad experience as an HR VP? Thank you.
During this interview, it has always been a privilege for me to be associated with Asia HRM and participate in several forums and several discussions that all of you organize. It's a very important and a very tricky question. As a HRBP, in my view, I have been through some tough experiences. There have been situations where my efforts or the efforts of my team haven't resulted into the desired results. Now, in all those situations, I won't say that they were bad experiences. I would say they were all learning experiences. And in all those situations, when I look back, those have been the times when we have gone back as a team and we had thought what we could do differently. Now, every actions that we take depends on the context. As a HR business partner, it is important for us to balance both the business requirements as well as the people requirements of our company. Now, there have been certain situations when I was the sales HR business partner for one of the units. We used to get a few requests from our frontline supervisors for relocation. Now, some of these requests always used to come because of the fact that the frontline supervisors were not based out of their hometowns or where their parents are located. If we hire any sales supervisor who is in the age range of 25 to 40 years, definitely their parents would be in the age range of 60 plus. So in all those situations, we used to get several requests that the sales supervisor who has joined in a certain territory, which is away from his hometown, now, because the health of his parents or if his family members is not that good, the sales supervisor used to request us to relocate him or her back to the sales territory, which was based out of his hometown. Now, many of these requests were genuine requests. Whenever I used to think what would happen if something of this sort happens to me. Having said it, as per that particular context in which we had operated, we knew that if we agree to some of these requests easily, we will start getting more and more requests. And practically, as a business person and as a HRBP, it is very difficult for us to verify to what degree the situation is dire and where the situation is not so dire. And often it used to happen that the situation was not dire when the sales supervisor was requesting it. But with time, the situation needed him to be back to his hometown. So it was a very tricky situation. And, as a HRBP, it was my and my team's best efforts to balance both the business requirements that we have. Sales supervisors joining us in a particular territory, they stay in that territory for a long time and they deliver the business results. At the same time, we needed to balance how we can support the sales supervisors in their personal needs. Now, in many of these situations, what we did was we used to have a full understanding of the need of the situation. We used to understand that is it that we can balance the business and relocate our team member to his hometown if the position is there. Sometimes the situation was the position itself was not there based out of the hometown. So how can we create a separate position because there is a need of a person? So we used to understand each and every case in detail. We used to understand what are the merits and demerits, how we can support our employee, and how we can support our business. So this is one of the tricky situations where I was in. The solution to this particular situation was, in many of the cases where we could actually relocate the employee to his hometown, because there was a vacant position or because there was a new opening coming up and the employee was also performing well, but there was a definite need, we used to go ahead and make those transfers. But in many of those cases where we were tied up because of the situation and the context, while we could not relocate the employee from one location to his hometown, what we used to do was we used to be generous with their weekends. We used to be generous with their leaves, right? And we used to inform the system around them to provide them necessary support, that at least once in a fortnight or once in a week, if they want to travel back to their hometown to take care of their family members, they can do so. And then in these cases, whenever the right time came, we used to ensure that we relocate that employee from their current location to the home location so that his interests are also taken care of. Having said it, Rita, there have been few situations where we couldn't do it, or we couldn't do it faster, or we couldn't do it quicker. And in all those situations, when I relook, I have to think that, in future, if these situations are repeated, how can we assist the employee? How can we also balance the business? So there is no right or wrong answer in this. Everything was case based, but it was our attempt to balance both the business needs as well as the personal needs of the employee. And these are some of the situations where a HR business partner might find himself or herself into, that business wants something, the employee wants something. We cannot meet the business requirements every time. We cannot meet the personal requirements every time. So how do we be balanced, and how do we ensure fairness in our actions and approach?
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Ritesh. That's for your positivity, because you mentioned that there were no bad experiences. We only had learning experiences. And also, as an HR, I think everybody will agree to us that there always a time for us to strike a balance between the needs of one's individual and also the businesses. Thanks again for accepting the interview, and have a good day. Thanks.